The sterile white walls of the Galactic Medical Station hummed with the low thrum of life support systems. Ariana moved through the corridors with practiced efficiency, her tablet displaying the vitals of her patients across 3 different wards. As the only human nurse on Station Kepler 9, she'd grown accustomed to the sideways glances from her colleagues, species who'd been traversing the stars when humanity was still figuring out agriculture. Nurse Ariana. The intercom crackled. Emergency in Bay 7. Vrection soldier. Combat trauma. He's difficult. Ariana didn't break stride. Difficult was her specialty. She entered Bay 7 to find chaos barely contained. 2 Thraxian orderlies stood at a safe distance from the medical pod, where a hulking Vrection lay bleeding from multiple plasma burns. His 6 arms clutched various medical instruments he'd clearly seized as weapons. No treatment. The alien growled, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into harsh, guttural words. Let me die with honor. Dr. Kelleth, the station's chief physician, looked relieved to see her. He won't let anyone near him. 3 hours he's been like this. Blood loss is critical. Ariana studied the Vrection. She recognized the insignia on his tattered armor. 43rd Deep Strike Unit, one of the most decorated battalions in the war against the Collective. But there was something else, something in the way he held himself despite the pain, the precise angles of his defensive posture. Everyone out, she said quietly. Nurse, I don't think out. Please. When the room cleared, Ariana approached slowly, hands visible and empty. The Vrection's 4 eyes tracked her movement, but he didn't lunge. Not yet. Vrection custom. She began, her voice steady. A warrior who falls in battle may refuse treatment if he believes his spirit is already claimed by the void. The alien's mandibles clicked in surprise. Few humans bothered to learn Vrection traditions. But, Ariana continued, stepping closer, there's an exception. If a battle brother speaks the old words, the fallen may accept life without dishonor. I have no battle brothers here, the Vrection rasped. They are dust and memory. And you are human. Soft. Weak. Ariana had heard worse. She pulled up a chair and sat just outside his reach. Tell me about them. Why? Because I want to understand who I'm trying to save. For a long moment, the only sound was the beeping of monitors. Then, perhaps from blood loss, perhaps from loneliness, the Vrection began to speak. His name was Krethval. His unit had held the Sigma line for 3 cycles against impossible odds. 40 soldiers had become 30, then 20, then 10. In the final battle, only he and his commander, Volkrax, had survived the initial assault. Volkrax had stayed behind to trigger the demolition charges while Krethval was ordered to extract with the civilians. I should have died there, Krethval whispered. With my commander. With my brothers. Ariana listened to every word, committing details to memory. When he finished, she stood and moved to the medical console, typing rapidly. The Vrection watched with dulled curiosity as she worked. What are you doing, human? Searching. Her fingers flew across the holographic interface. She accessed military databases, cross-referenced battle reports, pulled up classified documents that probably should have been above her clearance level. Jordan, the station's head of security and her occasional coffee companion, had once shown her a few backdoors in the system. She'd never thought she'd use them like this. Finally, she found it. A fragment of combat footage, audio only, recovered from a destroyed recorder on the Sigma line. She played it, static hissed, then voices emerged, Vrection battle cant, the old language used only between warriors. She heard Volkrax's voice, calm despite the chaos of weapons fire in the background. Krethval, hear me. Code Epsilon Void 7. You will live. You will carry our names forward. You will honor us not with death, but with life. This is my final order. The recording ended. Krethval had gone completely still. How? He breathed. That code? Only my unit knew those words. How does a human? Because someone thought it was important, Ariana said softly. Someone recorded it. Someone preserved it. Your commander's last words weren't lost to the void. They're here. And I'm here. And I'm telling you that Volkrax ordered you to live. She stepped closer, close enough that the Vrection could have struck her down with any of his 6 arms. Instead, those arms slowly lowered, releasing the improvised weapons. You are not Vrection, Krethval said, his voice barely audible. No, but I can witness for them. Ariana placed her hand gently on his armored chest, over where she knew the Vrexian heart cluster beat. Will you let me help you honor your commander's order? Krethval's mandibles trembled. Then, slowly, he nodded. 3 hours later, Ariana emerged from Base 7, exhausted but satisfied. Krethval was stable, sedated, and regenerating under the careful watch of Dr. Keleth's team. Jordan was waiting in the corridor, 2 cups of coffee in hand. He offered her one with a knowing smile. I heard you hacked military databases. I have no idea what you're talking about. Sure you don't. He sipped his coffee. How do you know that recording existed? Ariana smiled tiredly. I didn't. But humans have been recording everything since we invented the camera. I figured someone, somewhere, recorded something. I just had to find it. That's a hell of a gamble. He was dying, Jordan. Sometimes you have to bet everything on hope. She paused. Besides, we humans might be soft. We might be weak. But we're really, really good at remembering. At preserving. At making sure no one's last words are lost to silence. Jordan raised his cup in a quiet toast. Humanity, fuck yeah. Ariana clinked her cup against his and smiled.